It is time for the Digital Dojo, where we challenge, cooperate, and meditate on the video games and other such medias. And tonight it is reading with the Reading Renegades. Hi, Celine.
Hello, Satil. Lovely to have you here with us.
Yeah.
Or more precisely, lovely to be here.
You know, I mean, this dojo is just as much mine as it is everyone else's, so Mikasa Sukasa.
Ah, whipping out the Spanish because we're doing La Gaviota tonight?
Yeah, true. But it just, just comes out. Man, everything's just reminding me that I need to take up a Spanish class properly. What I'm curious about is what bop Dr. Despy is referring to, that it was such a bop. I always like knowing what folks like on my stream playlist. But I don't know. Celine, how's the week for you?
Well, the week has certainly come and gone for me. I did something that I don't do very often and spent a little bit of money on something that I didn't strictly need, but was interested in doing, just to try it out. And so I've been doing a bit of journaling for the last several weeks, and I figured, you know what? Maybe it's time I got a proper fountain pen.
Ooh.
Just to see how that works with my writing style and things of that nature. Sorry, I don't know why I suddenly lost track of my words. But yeah, it's been really smooth writing. And like, I've not really done calligraphy in the past. Like, I had a fountain pen when I was, way back in, like, school days. So, before some people were born. But it was not something that I ever really got, like, deep into. And so what I've found is that the style of cursive that I use mixes very nicely with a good fountain pen to create just kind of this calligraphic sort of appearance. Because, like, I write in cursive when I'm freehand writing.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I use a ballpoint pen, it usually looks kind of messy. It turns out if I use a fountain pen, it looks really elegant. And that's just kind of heckin' cool. So that's something that I feel, it costs a little bit of money, but I feel like it was a good investment. It was something that I've been enjoying using for the time that I've had it. In fact, I've almost worked my way through an entire ink cartridge on the thing. So it's going to be an expensive habit if I keep it up too hard. But then again, so is drinking sodas. So we all spend our money on things that are satisfying in their own ways, and I think this was one of. While it's not usual for me to spend it on something that I don't strictly need, it was nice, and I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, I hope you get lots and lots of mileage out of that, for sure.
Yeah, I hope so too. The other thing, and this is maybe even a little bit more on brand here, I submitted a short story to a zine that had opened up some submissions here. So if you follow me on Blue Sky, you probably know I am part of the Weeknight Writers group, and they are doing an e-zine coming up here over the course of the next few months. And so I finally took a deep breath and submitted a story, and it is now working its way through the process. So we will see whether or not it gets selected. If it isn't selected, I will probably do something else with it. But I'm looking forward to at least having completed the process and seeing how that ends up working.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. For both things. For one, I think having something to write with, right, that gives you that kind of inspiration. I know it sounds weird, but like for instance, when I used to write, I always used like the same typewriter. Like that's what always gives me, or the same keyboard, you know, if I'm doing it digitally. It's just fun to do it with, and makes you want to go back, and it gives you the right kind of response. And, you know, there's some sort of connection between the hand and the brain that makes it flow the best. And so I hope you get that out of your pen.
Yeah, I mean, so far I have, and it's been quite enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's yeah, yeah, that's no.
And then as for, you know,
But yeah,
publishing
how
a
was your
story,
week
that's
sorry.
really, really cool.
Well,
I
it's
wish
not
you the best.
published. I submitted it for
Yeah.
consideration.
True,
But
but still,
yeah,
I have a feeling, you know, you'll be doing some stuff with it. Either way, this is just
You say that. Have
just
you
one
actu-
step of the journey.
you say that, but have you actually read anything that I've written?
Not yet, but I'm sure there's an audience for everything, right? So.
I suppose we'll find out.
Yeah. You're gonna find out yourself. You're definitely, if you want people to know about it, you're going to find a place for it. Whether it's through the submission or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So heck yeah.
Very heck yeah.
So
So yeah, how was your week?
Yeah, so my week has mostly been dedicated to, let's see. I did stream this week. We did a Tuesday night movie for the Cinephilosophers, our Keenosopher crew. That was a lot of fun. Very confusing, but a lot of fun. I like keeping up the tradition of doing these random Chinese movies on Tuesday. And I'm glad I've been able to bring it back to stream. Hoping that Madman and I can continue doing like the Rocky series, because we did Rocky 1 and 2. So... And then...
And now, with those Chinese movies, is that something that you broadcast yourself, or is that something where people have to go find the movie in order to watch it alongside you? How does that work?
The way I do it is I find free movies that are on streaming that you can just find either like on the Internet Archive or like through streaming apps that are ad-free or whatever. And what I do is I clone the movie window for capture, blur the footage. I pitch down the audio for stream. The audio does not make it to the VOD. And I also include a time code at the bottom that runs alongside, and then the link I pin to the stream chat. So people can go ahead and follow along with the time code if they so choose. As we, you know, make hit or miss commentary. Either way, it's a good way to hang out. And get around like the copyright stuff and share a good time with folks in and out of stream. So that's how it's done.
Well, that sounds quite fun.
Yeah. I pat myself on the back for the cleverness of it. I don't really see a lot of people do this sort of thing on Twitch. You know, I've seen in the past people just upload movie commentaries and then you just sync it up after the fact, but never like live, really? So.
Sure, and that's you know, it's good to be unique for sure.
We don't always have the
Sorry,
most insightful commentary, but like, it's fun. It's fun to just vibe and hang out and see what we discover, especially through like random Chinese movies that we don't know about. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off. What's up?
No, sorry, I just, I actually should not have asked to start stream quite so soon. I need to be right back.
No worries.
But I would love to hear, through the video here, like, what is your favorite video that you've seen so far, and what is the strangest, if you don't mind sharing?
In terms of like movies we've done on stream?
Yes, specifically the movies that you've been looking for stream, that kind of thing.
Well, we had an experience. It wasn't for stream. This is like one of our pre-stream movies where I had the idea, like, let's just bring this back to stream. So there's a Roku app called iQIYI where we find all these Chinese films for free. And the Roku app has broken subtitles, and we didn't know until afterwards. So we watched a whole movie called Ghost Office without the subtitles, and we just kind of were just guessing along the way what's going on. And it kind of put our like visual storytelling like analysis to the test. And I think we pretty much got it, but I think eventually we're going to stream that in little bits because it's like an anthology film. And it's like a horror comedy style film, we think. And so it's broken up to like 3 episodes. So I think eventually we will do something where it's like, if we have a pre-show, we can do like an episode of Ghost Office each time. And then initially, we also started watching on a YouTube channel that uploads movies bootleg style. And so they get DMCA claims and copyright mutes. And it's a channel called China Movie Channel English. You can find it. And we watched one whose title, I don't even know if they uploaded with the real titles, but it was called Agent Dragon Dripping Heights. And even though there were subtitles and we could read it the whole time, there were audio dropouts. And honestly, I think it was just like one of those stories you need like historical context for, or it's like part of a bigger story, like one episode in a bigger saga. The whole time we were just like flabbergasted at what was happening, because we were just like, there's so many little moving parts that is condensed into this like hour and a half that we just do not we're kind of just getting the gist of. And the best part was, I think our favorite part of that was, there was a green screen effect where it was this floating black cat, and it was called the Spectral Cat in the story. And it's just like, I think they filmed it as if like there was a cat on a glass pane against a green screen, and they just like composited that into a frame, and they're like reacting to it like this is the spectral cat of legend. And then later on, they reveal that this cat was dyed black and held over in the story. The cat was dyed black, and it was held by an eagle on a rope, suspended in air, even though it just looks like the cat is floating. It's just that was such a strange reveal. And so it just added to this whole mystique of the spectral cat, and like understanding why and how that fits into the story was just so bizarre. So on top of having a weird technical difficulties experience that we just all were, kind
of rolling with
and flabbergasted by, the story just like continued to go into a place where it just was like, what is going on? What is, because I think at its core, it was a movie that was like a little chamber locked room mystery. But then there was stuff about the economy that we didn't understand that was going on at the time, and like little conspiracies and like dropped plots that I think like happened either before or after the story that gets involved. I'm not even sure if it was like a sequel to like a bigger series. It was it's one of these wuxia stories where it's like you really need the context of the bigger story, I think, and a lot of stuff is kind of like that. So
Got it. What is wuxia, by the way?
wuxia in essence is about, what would I say, is it a genre? I guess it'd be a genre. It's basically, I almost want to say the Chinese form of like sword and sorcery. But it's mostly about like heroic deeds of people in historical fiction. And so wuxia, I think, means like honorable hero, if I'm not mistaken. And so you have like the classic wuxia films of the day when they were becoming really popular would be stuff like Dragon Inn and Come Drink With Me and Touch of Zen, where it's really following like a band of heroes against like the corrupt government officials and stuff like that. And they're just like heroes that are just extremely skilled. And there's a touch of like magical mystery to their martial arts powers that they have to resolve the situations in combat. So it's an air of mystery, it's an air of spirituality. It can go in a lot of different places, but they're principally action films and mystery kind of films that take place in ancient China.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like the kind of thing that I really ought to experience at some point.
I recommend
maybe
Dragon
I
Inn,
should, like...
for sure.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, maybe I should, like, grab you one of these nights and be like, hey, we're going to teach me a bit about this whole wuxia thing.
Oh yeah. I am so down to watch more wuxia. I need to find more wuxia for myself. But yeah, I totally recommend the films of King Hu, which we could totally start with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and you've also got, a great excuse to find new stuff if we're trying to introduce me to things.
Yes.
So,
And finding
it.
translations of dubious quality, as is the theme as well. With what I've found, a lot of this stuff is just not really. It's just kind of like in a gray area. It's not really officially has ever been officially released in America, and I don't think the people who, or like in the West in general, right, in the English-speaking world, I guess I should say. And in general, we're finding that a lot of these translations are of dubious quality from people who probably, are not native English speakers. And it's definitely an experience.
The thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole thing. So yeah, wuxia was very inspirational to, the ensuing kung fu craze of the 1970s, where you get stuff like Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon, and then the films of Jackie Chan, which mix in like action comedy, and then you have stuff like the gun fu genre, as it's dubbed here in the West, with like John Woo's films, where it's like A Better Tomorrow and Hard Boiled, mostly following like officers of the law who stick to their convictions and go above bureaucracy to get, real justice served and stuff like that, and comes out in these elaborate action scenes. So I mean,
So is that like similar to John Wick kind of thing, or?
John Wick was definitely inspired by the films of that era, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind that my pop culture is my dump stat, so
No worries.
quite enjoying getting a chance to learn about some of this because I would not have previously.
Yeah, there's a lot for me to learn myself, and it's really hard to get a hold of in the English speaking realm. So, it goes pretty deep. I actually follow a wuxia author because wuxia kind of originates from novelists, and then those stories get adapted into movies and shows and things like that. I should probably link you her page, see if I can find her, because she's actually published some recent wuxia stuff I'd like to take a close look into that is, I think, published in English. So let me see if I can find her. Yeah, Alice Poon is her name. And it says on her profile, she's a Chinese fantasy / spec fic writer, fan of Jin Yong, which is one of the original wuxia writers in the 20th century that kind of popularized the genre in pulp fiction. Chinese history, mythology, wuxia, and zhanxia. With zhanxia is basically is specifically a subgenre where the protagonists are female. And she's got a few of her own wuxia novels out there that I would really enjoy seeing some more of. So I need to explore that myself. So let me put that in our little Discord chat here. Check her out. And she's actually helped me track down some wuxia stuff. Like, I've commented on stuff when I first got into wuxia originally. I found her, or somehow she found me, or I was like posting on Blue Sky about watching the films of King Hu for the very first time, and she found me somehow. And we just started talking, and I was like, can you give me some wuxia recommendations? Like, where do I find this stuff? And she gave me like some YouTube channels to find, and like some titles to look up, see if I can find them in English. There was a film when I was at my job at the university library. Well, I worked at a university library, I didn't work for the university library. I found a film through the interlibrary loan that she had recommended to me that had never been released in English outside of an old video CD from the early 90s. And I got it on interlibrary loan, and I was able to rip that, and I was able to watch it, and also, for some reason, the Cantonese and Mandarin tracks were like spliced together somehow, so they're running at the same time, so I had to put it through an editor and separate out a Cantonese version and a Mandarin version for my own home viewing to put on the computer and watch myself in video CD quality, mind you. So this was some home media archaeology I did. Really crazy stuff.
And yet, I mean, it sounds like it's not only a good experience just in the getting to watch this stuff sense of the word, but also like a chance to get a little more experience with modifying some of these video tracks.
Oh, and mind
like
you, that is only part 1 of the film I found. So I don't even have part 2. I don't know how the story ends. I don't know if I'll ever know.
Oh no!
It's based on a novel, though, so if it ever gets translated, or if it does have a translation, I could find it. It's based on a Jin Yong story called The Book of Princess and Sword, I think. So, I will have to find that. But in particular, I wanted it because it was a wuxia film that was made by one of the New Wave Hong Kong directors. Can't think of her name right now. But she's one of the only female directors from that era. So I was like, a female directing a female wuxia, I was like, I gotta check this out somehow. You know, that's kind of important to me. I like seeing stuff from the female perspective, just because this genre and so much of film is male dominated. I wanted to see that. I can't remember her name. Let me look up one of her films. One of her films is Boat People.
Boat People?
Yes, Boat People movie, 1982. Let's see. An Hui is her name. Yeah. And it's part of Boat People's one of her Vietnam trilogy films. So I want to see more of her films. The one that stood out to me, of course, was the wuxia one. I'm gonna have to give that a watch again someday, because I think I watched part of it, and once again, I think it was one of those wuxia stories where it's like the audience it's made for has the context going in, and so I was kind of lost. Yeah. But it's you can see it in a lot of different media. Like, for instance, I mean, what's playing right now on stream, Soul Calibur, right? One of the main characters in that is Shang Fa, and she's totally based off of like a Zhansha character. Like,
is it pronounced Shang Fa or Shang Hua?
In the game they pronounce it Shang Fa.
Really?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I guess I must not have been.
Maybe? I don't know.
I've played most of the Soul Calibur games. I didn't play very much of 6.
Yeah,
but,
I've heard it both ways, I think. But Changhua definitely is totally based in that wuxia tradition.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, she's a character that I've never had good luck playing, but I tend to play like your Siegfried or Nightmare. Tended to be kind of my mains in the Soul Calibur games.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're kind of heavy, asterisk, but they're usually fairly quick. They have a lot of very heavy hitting stuff. And with Siegfried, at least, a lot of it is switching between different sword stances. So, like, normally when you're playing Soul Calibur, you've got, your vertical, your horizontal, and your kick. With Siegfried, which stance you're in dramatically changes what your next attack will be. So instead of just having to remember those 3, you have a series of 4 stances times those 3, plus whatever instant inputs you can do during the middle of the attacks. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here.
No, I love it. I need to take some notes for when I return to Soul Calibur 3.
Well, sounds like a plan. Soul Calibur 3, that one was the arcade exclusive, wasn't it?
No, I've got it for PS2. I'm playing through the Chronicle of the Sword campaign, which is like kind of like a RTS / fighting game kind of thing. Pretty fun.
Okay, maybe it was an arcade and PlayStation exclusive then, because it was not available on any of the platforms that I had.
Yeah, I think it was only PS2.
To my eternal disappointment.
It was only on PS2, and then they made a patched version, like an updated version for the arcade. And actually recently I saw there is a fan patch that restores the arcade version, like, patches to the PS2, which is pretty cool.
Restores the arcade version patches?
Yeah, because because the PS2 version was the initial release and it had some bugs in it that got fixed in the arcade version. And then they ported those fixes to the PS2 via patch recently.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a way for us to play that together sometime, we will definitely have to give it a go.
Yeah, there are some... Yeah, we can figure out some net play. I know they hold tournaments for Soul Calibur 1, 2, and 3 pretty regularly online. So I'll have to look into what they use.
For sure.
But yeah. Wow, I didn't think we were going to be talking about Soul Calibur after all that wuxia, but here we are.
You're the one who brought up Soul Calibur.
I know, because I was like, it just seemed to fit. I was like, oh yeah, so like what we're listening to right now on stream. Like I was like, the wuxia influence runs so deep that I don't think most people realize. It's just kind of crazy.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it though. Like it's, I think it's really cool how much just stuff in the world really exists that you wouldn't know about if you didn't know to go looking for it.
Right?
And so many of these things actually do influence each other. Like very little happens within a vacuum.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I really like, you know, just finding stuff and then following the threads of where it leads. That's the most fun I have. And so, like, you know, it just took one thing for me to get into wuxia, and then, like, a whole world opens up, you know? And I tend to just find that stuff... I'm proud to say I like finding that stuff, you know, just by happenstance. I'm not opposed to, like, getting recommendations and things like that, but, like, there's something special about, like, doing the research on your own and really... you know, just kind of organically finding it in a way.
Yeah. Being part of the world, and through the worlds and your experiences, getting to experience stuff that there isn't a literature reason why you would experience it.
Yeah. I think, you know, that's why libraries are such a fun way to do that, and very important way to be able to find your expression, find the things you're interested in, and you can keep following that thread over and over and over again and follow so many different paths. And, you know, take advantage of those resources to really, you know, express your interest and continue to find and be surprised by what you like.
Yeah. It's a whole world out there, folks. Be sure you experience it.
Yeah, for sure. I lost my train of thought after that. But
Sorry.
did you want to get into the book and then whoever drops in, drops in?
I think that's probably the right strategy for us to do here at this point.
Alrighty.
But yeah. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of what's all happened so far in the story?
Sure. So what has happened since the last time you were on the street?
Or just like an overall summary of
true.
Because like I'm not the only one who might have missed the last stream.
So the story opened on Fritz Stein, who was traveling by ship to Spain. He is a soldier who was discharged from his position, a medical officer, I believe, and he's looking to establish his practice somewhere in Spain. And he got a recommendation by someone on the boat with some sort of elaborate title, I can't remember now. And he finds himself in the countryside, walking along with a dog he picks up, runs into a bowl, As if it
And by
wasn't
bull,
hard
you
enough.
mean the big horned steer type animal, not
I
like
do.
a
I do.
not like a Super Bowl or whatever.
No. Not a bowl you eat soup out of. Yes.
Bull you make soup out of. Got it.
True. So along with, being dehydrated and exhausted, he's got this bowl to deal with. Unfortunately, the dog does not make it. And he runs for his life away from the bowl into an abandoned monastery, which borders the town of... What's the name of the town? Can't remember it right now. I'm gonna go back. Let's see. They mentioned this town somewhere. No, San Cristobal's the fort. Goodness. It's gonna bother me if I don't find the name of this town. Villamar! Haha! Okay. Yes! He finds himself in the town of Villamar being treated back to health and is being treated by this family who doesn't know who he is. They're wary of foreigners and very prejudiced of anyone outside of their little town. He gets to exploring around town, trying to see if he can maybe establish himself, get his bearings, and is given information about the town songstress, who is the daughter of a fisherman. And it so happens that she is in ill health, which is what happened last time. And Stein goes with this family to go help her and raise her back to health as well. And they find out her name is Marisalada. And so far, we're at the point where she's getting back to health, basically. And I think we were on chapter 9? Yes. So basically, that's kind of what happened. A lot of stuff happens in between. A lot of, I won't say fluff, but it's a lot of stuff that, gives you the impression of what kind of town this is, what the people are, what they're like, what their lives have been like. There was a whole chapter about the guy who lives in San Cristobal, who's the commandant of that fort there, and his relationship to his daughter-in-law, and all the prejudices they have faced together, because she has her own, I think she's got some sort of eye condition that, what would I say? What's a good word for this?
Does it cause her blindness? Or?
Yeah, I mean, she's got that, of course, but why do I want to say excommunicate? She's not excommunicated from the community, but it's like she's can't think of the word right now. She's ostracized. She's kind of ostracized from society. Okay. Is what I'm saying, from their society. So, there's stuff like that happens in this. So But basically, we're at the point where Marisalada is being taken care of by Stein and the family. And she's not a particularly popular figure. Apparently, she gets into trouble. Momo, the child of the family that Stein is under the care of, particularly does not really care for her. But the grandmother, Maria, she's like, back off, Momo. Like, let us take care of this. So that's kind of where we're at. It is... That's the story so far. I don't know. Does that paint the picture?
I think it certainly does. It's so far been a story of adventure and prejudice, of compassion, and of trying to make your way in a world that isn't always made for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty darned cool. So
Yeah.
thank
It's
you.
definitely about, like... Yeah, all those values you said. And... Yeah, I think in particular, it's definitely about how the family, especially in their conversations, how each of them kind of has their own worldview, in a way. It's like a, you know, they're collected, they're all in the same town, but they all have, like, views they impose upon each other in terms of, like, how things ought to be run. And all their prejudices kind of get involved in that mix. You know, whether that prevents people from getting where they should be, or, you know, what their full potential is yet to be seen. But I can see it kind of running in that way, where people might defy their expectations and they may not approve of it.